So, and how do they work and where they use in enterprise network? Let's start today's session. So before understanding 802.1x and MAC authentication, first we need to understand why NAC network access control is required. In every organization, employee connect laptop, user connect mobile devices, printers connect to switches, and IP phones connect to the networks. IoT devices connect continuously. Now let's big question is how can verify which is connecting, which device to connecting, is the device is authorized, should network access be allowed or denied. This is the where NAC come to in the pictures. NAC control authentication, authorization, device visibility, and secure policies. And two most common authentication method in NAC are 802 authentication and MAC authentication. 80 what is meant by 80.1x authentication protocol used 802.1x is network authentication protocol used for secure access control. Is mainly used for wired authentication and wireless. The purpose of 802.1x is authenticate user or device before allowing network access. Suppose an employee connect the laptop to the office switchboard. Immediately the switch asks, who are you? The laptop send the username and password or certificates. The switch forward the information to the Aruba ClearPass. The radius server checks the credential. If the authentication is success, network access is granted. If the authentication fail, the access is denied. Three main components of 802.1x: supplicant, authenticator, and authenticator and server. Supplicant, the client device, laptop, mobile device, desktop, or tablet. These devices send authentication credential. Authenticator means the switch, wireless controller, access point. Authentication servers means this is the Redis server, the Aruba ClearPass, to validate the user identity. How 802.1x work? Now let's understand the complete flow step by steps. First, the endpoint connect to the switch. The switch checks normal traffic initially. Third step, the switch send the IP requests. Fourth step, the user provide credential. Fifth step, the switch forward request to the Redis server. Sixth step, Redis server validate the credential. And seventh step, if successful, VLAN are assigned. Access is granted. Policy applied. This is the process is called as AAA authentication. Authentication, authorization, accounting. Common method are IPIP and IPTLS. Nowadays, IPTLS is more secure because it's secure certificate-based authentication, not password is required. Where the 802.1x is used. 802.1x is used in corporate offices, banking networks, hospitals, government organizations, enterprise Wi-Fi, secure LAN environment. Anywhere security is important, 802.1x is used. Now the come to the what is the MAC authentication. Now let understand MAC authentication. MAC authentication is also called as MAB, MAC authentication bypass. This method is used in when devices do not support 802.1x. 802.1x is not going to support. There is a fallback mechanism of the .1x. Why MAC authentication is required? Some devices cannot enter username and password. Example: printers, IP phone, CCTV camera, biometric machine, IoT devices. These devices cannot perform 802.1x authentication. So these devices called as headlet devices. The NAC uses MAC address authentication mechanism are used. How MAC authentication works? If the device connect to the switch send the device MAC address. Example: AAA, This is the MAC address of the systems or printers. The switch send the MAC address to ClearPass using the radius. ClearPass check the MAC address is allowed. the MAC address MAC exists in my database is access. Otherwise, access is denied. Move to the guest VLAN. In the MAC authentication method, the username and password itself system printer physical MAC address. That system that the physical MAC address going to username and password the both are same in the MAC authentication method. Difference between 802 and MAC authentication. Let's understand the MAP is a MAC authentication fallback mechanism for the 8021X. If the .1x is fail, so the user going to authenticate through the MAP. In the MAP, there is a no username password from the AD. They only going to check the physical MAC address of system is username and password also same. MAC address also MAC address. Okay. Now let's cooperate both method. 8021X is more secure. 8021 is more secure. User credential is certificate. Dynamic authentication recommended for laptop and user. MAC authentication less secure. User MAC address only. Mostly is non-user devices. User printers, IP phone, IoT devices. These devices going to directly communicate through the method is MAC authentication method. Real world example in corporate offices, employee laptop use 8021X, printer IP phone use MAC authentication, guest visor web authentication. All authentication requires to Aruba ClearPass NAC server. Then ClearPass decide allow access, deny access, access VLAN, and apply policies. What why is important of why 802 is important? Benefit 8021X show strong security, prevent unauthorized access, dynamic VLAN assignment, identity based access, certificate based authentication. Why MAC authentication important? Why authentication is important? Suppose why 80 sorry, I'm just talking about why MAC authentication is important. Benefit the MAC authentication it support non 8021X devices, easy onboarding, device identification, IIT device control. Common Sometimes common issue enterprise networks sometimes as a face authentication failure, radius timeout, wrong VLAN assignment, certificate issue, prevent frequent reauthentication, MAC learning issue. This is where a NAC engineer perform troubleshooting using access tracker, radius log, switch debug, packet capture. Conclusion. So friend, today we will learn about the 8021X, what is MAC authentication, how both work, difference between them and real world enterprise uses, NAC authentication flow. These are basic and most important concept Aruba ClearPass in network security. So if you are enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. How and again is